First of all, obviously development is just his physical, physical transformation. It looks like a totally different person. We were laughing the other day. We were looking at him on the internet. He's about 350 in high school, belly hanging between his legs and his stance and all that. So, that's really helped him out a lot in terms of being able to not just get through practice, but as practice continues, as practice goes on, that he gets better and better as the defenders get a little bit tired. So, from a mental standpoint, I think it helps him out a lot too, because now he's not focused on just getting through and just surviving practice or a game, something like that. He's focusing on the things that are necessary to have success. His technique and being physical and all those other things that we preach every single day.
What'd you guys see in him that made you think he's a left tackle, not a right tackle or guard?
I think sometimes that's a little bit overrated in terms of what a left tackle is and a right tackle is. If you look in the league, not everybody's 6'7". People over-exaggerate on their weights and heights. A lot of guys are 280, 290. So the whole thing where, it's a prototypical left tackle and all that stuff, it doesn't matter anymore. There's a lot of mismatches at that level, and there's guys coming in now that are rushers that are 6 foot, 220 pounds that get off the edge to do certain things. So I wouldn't say he's a prototype left tackle, but I think he has success over there, and I think he gives us our best chance. And so for a guy that he's very mature for his age, he's very smart, and I think he's picked up things really well, and he's done really well over there. And the times he go against Orr and different people like that, he holds his own, and he's pretty dominant going against some other guys. And so I've been very pleased with what I've seen so far. But obviously he's just in shorts right now, so it's not. I wouldn't say it's all that impressive, like it's like I made a final decision on anything. But in terms of what I've seen so far, I've been pretty pleased with, and just hopefully he continues to get better and realize he still has a ways to go.
Velocity, Jim said he made one of the best transformations on the team. Putting him at left tackle, or right tackle, starting right tackle and stuff. What went into kind of that decision?
I had him at left tackle. I was working on my left tackle last year, but he's played right all throughout high school, and he just feels more comfortable over there. And so one of the things I wanted to do with him is while he's learning, I want him to be a little bit more comfortable. I wanted him to gain confidence. So I wanted to put him in a position that he was familiar with, and so he could focus on getting what we do schematically down and focusing on techniques and the different things of that nature. And then eventually, I could kick him back over to left tackle. Caleb's played guard and tackle, and that's one of the reasons why, I did what I did with him during camp last year. So I wanted him to have flexibility in terms of position flexibility. And going through the recruiting process in terms of how I evaluate offensive linemen, I like guys that can play a number of different positions. It's very rare if you ever see me recruit a true center, and even a true tackle, unless he's a special guy. I like to have guys that can play guard or tackle. And it's not just because of the type of injuries and all these different things that UCLA has had in the past. It's just more. It just gives you more options, and it's like the talk about in the league. It's just the more you can do. And if you go on the road and you have 8 solid guys, you're good to go. You don't have to have 15 deep, but if you have 8 solid guys that can play and everybody knows what they're supposed to do and they have position flexibility, you'll always be in good shape. And it won't matter how many guys get hurt or guys get suspended, different things of that nature. So what we're trying to do is build quality depth instead of just having numbers.
How far out is Simon as of right now? Is it?
I'm not really sure. I just go with the reports. I just know he's not practicing now. He won't be practicing this spring. I see he's doing things over there, but my thing is I don't want to rush him. I think that we don't have as much depth as I would like, but we do have guys that can fill in that position. I think Connor McDermott will be back for camp. Simon will probably be ready for camp, but I don't want to rush. I want to be fair to him. It's 2 years where he played with injuries and he tried to push through different things. And to a certain degree, I don't know if that hurt him a little bit, but I know from a confidence standpoint, it probably shook him up a little bit. And I want him to gain that back, and I want to have every opportunity to be the guy that we all knew he could be coming in here. And so he started off with a bang, early off in his career, and I want him to continue with that. And so I'd like him to take his time coming back. There's no rush. And, there's some things that have come up that change our depth a little bit, but again, that's only, that's one guy. And there's some guys that are eager to fill those spots, and, they're doing a good job so far.
Kenny Lacey, playing right tackle now. How does he factor into it? What have you seen from this offseason?
He's another guy that made a transformation, a dramatic transformation physically. I've been impressed with his work ethic. He's done a lot of things. He's done a lot more than what he's been asked to do, which has been impressive. The maturation process is continuing, but he's a lot more mature than he was when he walked on campus. And just his work ethic is improving every single day. He's taking things personal in terms of, I think he saw other guys playing at his age, and that makes guys a little bit hungrier. At a certain point, we had to have a heart-to-heart in our group. There's about 90 guys that are about the same age, and either guys are transferring or guys are sitting on the bench, one or two. So you got to get cracking. And he's one of the guys that just took it to heart. Came back as like a different guy. I knew he'd be a little bit better, but I was shocked at what I've seen. The first couple practices, and it's not because I didn't think he could do it. I just didn't think it would come this soon. And like I said, he's looking good right now, but everybody's in shorts. I think the defense has a little bit of advantage when we don't have pads on, but at the same time, there's some guys that can look good in this, and then you put on pads and look a little bit different. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I want to reserve judgment, and I don't want to get too excited about different things until we have the pads on, and we look at things 2 or 3 weeks from now and just see where we're at. But from what I've seen so far in terms of work ethic and getting after it and just the focus and different things of that nature, I've been fairly pleased.
I think Najee was working in with the first team for a little bit there. What do you think of him?
I like that kid. He gets after it on it. You see him driving guys 30 yards downfield and all this stuff. He's a pretty good kid. Yeah, he has a little bit of motor on him. He's one of the guys I have to run around telling him to get after it a little bit. I've been impressed that he's supposed to be in high school right now, and he's out there and he's mixing it up with the older guys. And he came in a lot more mature physically than I thought he was going to be. I assumed he'd be about 250 or so, but I think that's just being worn down from season and maybe not having meal plan and different things that he has here and that he's been put on, talking to Sal and different things over the course of the last few months. So he's taking that, seriously, not just the football aspect, but from a nutritional standpoint, doing the extra things and taking supplementation in terms of extra protein and all that. He's been doing a good job with it, and he's been building, and that was the one thing we just didn't know if we knew he had the mental capability of doing certain things, but didn't know if he physically would be ready to do it, kind of like Kawasi. And a little bit further than what we thought. And today, he actually ran with the ones when Alex went down. Kind of ease Alex back into it. He can go out there and practice with the club, but he only played 2 games healthy last year. I'd like to give him a chance as well, just like Simon, to come back and be healthy and have a full season where he can show what he can do. So.
How much were you counting on having Torian, and does that, at this point, it seems like a lot of guys have stepped up, kind of made that transformation. Does it affect you guys maybe as much as you would have thought not having him?
It affects us in terms of, obviously it affects us because it's a guy that we thought was going to be a starter. But I did think that he had tremendous upside, but so do a number of other guys here. And you see the difference that Caleb, the transformation he made as a player in about 8 weeks. I mean, that's night and day from when he first came in to what he was again. We didn't even know he was going to play tackle. And then you have a guy like Kawasi that once it clicks, I mean, he could be as good as anybody that's come through here in the last however many years. And then so, I mean, it's just one of those kind of, Connor McDermott's a guy that hadn't even played offensive line before. He's only played offensive line for 6 months, and all of a sudden you see there thinking like, damn, is he better than Simon? It's just kind of, you just never know. And the kids are so young, and that's the one thing that's unique about our group. There's no older guys. Our oldest guy is probably like Ben Wisaki before Malcolm came, before Bunch comes. And, just every day they're changing. And that's whether it's off the field coming into the office or, on the field or different things like that. I mean, they're just, they're growing right in front of us, and it's a unique situation. So I would think that he'd be the starter, but I also think there's some guys that are going to push him. And there are a number of guys that said, they're hungry and they're not that far behind him in terms of age. And I think coaches set precedent here that it doesn't matter what your age is, you can get the opportunity to play if you're good enough. And so, like I said, there's a lot of guys that are making strides and doing well. So I would have probably assumed that he'd be a starter, but I also think it'd be a competitive situation. So would I like to have him here? Yeah, because we get more quality depth. But we're working with the guys that we have, and those guys have been up to it, and those guys are doing a good job.
When Simon comes back, would you